Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. So first off, man, oh man, oh man. I don't even really know where to start. I want to start with thank you, and then I want to start with wow, and then I want to start with for real. Just like all those different things. So let's start with thank yous first. First off, real talk too. Thank you for everybody. I've said this before, but man, look, thank you for everybody who lent their voice to this discussion. Thank you for everybody who allowed this to be a discussion and not just a juvenile 5-year-old name calling session because we disagree. Thank you for everybody who put in the comments and laid out their response, their reasoning for how they felt about what was going on with the Rings of Power and Tolkien's work, and really just kind of woke, for the lack of a better word. And I do feel that term has been somewhat co-opted and a bit weaponized, but that's a different video for maybe even a different channel. But who shared their thoughts on it? Whether you were for it or whether you were against. But what you did was you shared your thoughts on it. Some of you all laid out very, what I think are cogent arguments that make a lot of sense, both for or against it. But nobody was insulting anybody, right? Nobody was coming at anybody with a whole bunch of venom with how you responded to it, because I feel like I didn't do that towards you. So I feel like the mutual respect is appreciated. And thank you, because it is a little bit of a picture, right, of us being able to agree to disagree. And I'm not sure if you're seeing this in the United States or not, but if you are, you know that we have lost that by and large on a large scale. People are at each other's necks, and that whole idea of agree to disagree just, I don't know what's happened to it, but it's not in the U.S. right now. We need to recover from that. And if you're not in the U.S., I don't know how it is where you are, but if it is the same way, it's not a good thing. So anyway, that said, thank you. Thank you for all of the OG Darksiders. Thank you for all of the new Darksiders that have picked up in the community and joined the conversation. Thank you guys. You guys are all awesome. Much love to you all. With topics like this, we don't do it all the time, and we won't do it all the time, because I just don't want this to be a channel of negativity, right? And there's so much more to talk about. Okay, so that said, we need to clear some things up. And what I want to do in this video is I want to answer as many comments as I can, having those comments grouped in kind of sections or buckets, I guess, for the lack of a better word, because there were so many different comments. I wish I could answer them all. But it's just too many for me to answer. It's probably appropriate to do a live stream, because we can get a lot of comments in that way as well. So I want to answer as many as I can, and then we'll just wait for your response from them. So the first one I want to say is this, because I feel like I need to make this clear, because I saw this a lot still, even though I felt like I tackled this or I addressed this in the last video, but I'm going to say it again. If you think that Tolkien's work is fine the way that it is, and you don't want to see any changes to Tolkien's work, I got no problem with you on that. Hear me clearly. I have no problem with you on that. Just because I said that I didn't think that what they're doing with the elf and the dwarf was necessarily going to wreck what Tolkien is giving us through Rings of Power, you don't have to agree with me. And I honestly completely get the idea that you don't want to see that change made, that you feel like that is not keeping in step with what Tolkien intended. Listen, I'm fine with you having that opinion. And for those of you that might think that I think that you're racist because of that, hear me clearly. What? I absolutely don't think that. I absolutely don't think that. Let me tell you what I think happens with that and why some people think that. I think that some people have adopted a whole ideology that they attach to the quote woke movement that lumps you in, or that you think lumps me in with a whole, I'm not even, my thoughts are getting mixed up, or that you think that I am lumping you in, there it is, with a whole ideology. So you might think that, well, if he thinks that I am against Lord of the Rings changing, and the reason that he's fine with it is because it's a black elf and a black dwarf, then he probably thinks I'm racist. Look, man, I'm not caught up like that. I'm not caught up. And I refuse to allow myself to be caught up in a whole ideology where I get trapped into something by association and that's not what I think. Of course, I don't think that. It's madness. You just feel differently about it. So I want to put that to bed, to rest right now. Another thing I want to address is the Wakanda question. I got that a lot. I still get that a lot. Well, what about Black Panther? What if they changed Black Panther, made Black Panther white? And there's some meme. There's one meme about it that says they'll hate this. That's a stupid meme anyway. And I do feel like that has a racial overtone to it. But anyway, so here's my response to that. And I answered it in another video, which I'm assuming most of you guys have not seen. So check it out. Look at that video and see what I said about Black Panther. And I do think Black Panther is categorically different than the Lord of the Rings. And I shared the reason why in that video. So go check that out. Now, some people saw that video and they didn't like what I had to say about that. They didn't feel it was substantive, and it wasn't enough for them. And I don't really know what to say about that. Like, I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, that's my response. That's my thinking. That's my reasoning about it. So I think that it's different from that perspective. Now, I do want to answer one question that I thought was really interesting because this was put a little bit differently as it relates to Black Panther. So someone asked me, well, what if 20 years from now, Marvel retconned Black Panther? And it was a multicultural retcon, right? So now instead of the core of Black Panthers being Black or African, because technically Black Panther is not the first African American superhero represented in Marvel. I believe that that's Falcon. But what if they changed it, right? What if Marvel said, look, I don't know, 2050, and we're going to retcon Wakanda because now America is so diverse that we're going to retcon Wakanda and we're going to change that whole story around and then make it a diverse story. Now, this might surprise you, but okay, I'm fine with that. Now, what I would not want to see happen is the original foundation of how Wakanda came to be. I would still want that in the comic record books because of the reason that it was created. But if that was still there, and if I could be talking to my son and say, hey, listen, I see you're enjoying the new story of Wakanda, but did you know originally this is why Wakanda was created, and have that conversation with them, even though that's not the origin story that he's reading or she's reading, son or daughter, that she's reading, I'm fine with that. That might surprise you. See, I think that you guys think that I'm trying to turn everything all black. I am not trying to turn everything all black. I am trying to say that things need to be diversified. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that we should see a representation of the whole of what, at least America, again, I'm only talking about America, you guys, in a sense, because I'm here. That's the only reason why. I don't mean it to be exclusive. That's it. Because when you walk out your door, you see all different types of people. And I'm saying that that should be a reflection of what shows in our media and TV. That's all I'm saying. That's it. For those of you all who want to attach more to that than what I'm saying, hear me. That's what I'm saying. That is it. Now, there was also a question that was attached to that where someone said, well, I don't know where, maybe you've been under a rock. Those are my words. They didn't say that. But it is pretty diverse right now. Yeah. I don't know where you've been, Al, but it's pretty diverse. And that is true. It is much more diverse than it used to be. It is. I'm not going to argue against that. I mean, we're long gone from the days of blackface where you had white characters play every character. We're long gone from that. So I'm not trying to say that it's not happening at all. That's not what I'm saying. We are getting it, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's where we want to go. So I'm not arguing that it's not happening right now, and I never said that it's not happening right now. So whoever said that, I can't remember who made that comment, you're misinterpreting my statement if you're thinking that I'm saying that it's not happening. I'm saying that it's a good thing that it is happening and it needs to continue to happen. I also want to address the whole issue of people who have said, my arms are getting tired, man, of people who have said, oh, it's really bad. Oh, I lost my balance there. It's really bad, right? If you need to have someone that looks like you on screen to feel represented or to feel a connection with the character, and some of these folks were black, and I did say that, but what I didn't say is that that was a necessary condition for me to feel connected to a character. I love it to see black people in leads with stuff, and I'm saying black people now because I'm black, so I want to make that preference clear because I don't want to think other minority groups out there to think that I'm leaving them out. If you could actually take that statement and make it distributive to say whatever minority groups, because I feel that way though. So I'm making that statement true. Yeah, you might not feel that way if you're a minority group. Yeah, I love to see it, man. I love to see black leads and stuff. I love it. I love the diversity of it. It is an attachment or a recognition of who I am as an African American. But don't make the mistake to say when I say that I don't care about other folks, that I don't care about other racial groups, because then you are applying something to what I said that I did not say. And I'm telling you now, that's not true. But yeah, but do I need it to connect? Absolutely not. Probably like many of you, my favorite superhero ever since I was a kid has been Spidey, Peter Parker. Why? Because I resonate with that dude. Like I feel how they write him. As a kid with all these problems, despite his superpowers, he feels authentic. He feels genuine. And I connect with him because of that. So Spidey's one of my favorites. So it's not like they have to be black only for me to identify with them. I never said that, and that's ridiculous. So I just want to make sure that that's clear as well. Now, let's talk about the historical changes, because some of you all mentioned, I think it was it Anne Boleyn, where apparently, I didn't see it, but apparently they replaced a historical figure, and that's important to say, historical figure with someone that's black. Now, I want to say in all fairness, I've not seen it, so I don't know if there was some contextual slant that made that kind of substitution valid or not. I don't see how there could be, but I've not seen it, so I don't know. That's my point in saying that. But that's ridiculous. Like, how you gonna make somebody that's traditionally from one ethnic background, when you're talking about a historical work, not fiction, but a historical work, and then change their ethnicity? You can't make Malcolm X white. That's not going to work. So how would you do that? So for those who ask me questions about that, that's ridiculous. I totally disagree with that. That's ridiculous. And if that doesn't seem like pandering and virtue signaling, then I don't know what else is. Now, that leads me to the next question. A lot of you guys had issues with this, and it wasn't so much because of the changes with Tolkien's work. Some of you guys had issues with it because you were like, listen, Al, man, come on, dude. You know that's not real representation, right? You know that's all about whatever's advantageous and helpful for the studio. And I certainly believe that you are telling the truth. I don't think for a New York minute, if the winds of change blew tomorrow, and it wasn't socially, politically, or monetarily advantageous to some of these production houses to make sure that you're diversifying, to do all of those things, I don't think for a New York minute that they wouldn't change, because they're going to go where the money goes and what helps them. And at the end of the day, for them, the dollar rules. So I'm not lost on that. I don't think that applies to everyone, but I do think that applies to a lot of them. So don't think that I don't know that. And I also agree that I don't want to see a whole bunch of signaling. I don't want to see you give me a black character or another minority character. And in the case of black characters, you give it to me, and essentially it's almost so blatant that you are trying to say that you are down with diversifying, that you almost got a guy walking around with his fist up in the air, like in the video. Nobody wants to see that either. I know I don't want to see that anyway. Let me say that. Let me talk about myself, right? Because I don't want to speak for anybody else. I don't want to see that. If you're going to diversify. Give me a good story and diversify. You don't have to be like, yo, Al, you see that dude? I put the black man in there. Got the black man in there. We doing it. We representing. I don't want to see that. Just put them in there and give me good entertainment. That's all I'm asking for. That's it. Nobody, nobody wants to see all of this heavy-handed virtue signaling with things like that. So that's my take on that. Hopefully that answers that question. I also want to deal with the question of I've said this before, but this is still coming through in the comments. People saying it doesn't really matter, man. It doesn't really matter about race. Just put in good performers, and that's really all that we need. I also agree with that as well. Put in good performers. I agree with that part of it. But you just make sure that when you're doing that, that everybody who is performing or who is trying out for these parts is actually a good performer. Sorry, guys. Something was coming in. I had to stop and read it. My wife's not here, and she's been texting me back and forth about stuff with the house. So, yeah, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with making sure that the people who are going after the roles are actually good actors and actresses, and we should make sure that they are good performers. That said, you can't tell me, though. You can't tell me that you would not still have a lot of minorities that are going out for these parts that are good performers. So I just want to make that clear. So it still should look diverse because you have good actors from almost every people group, and you can't tell me that that's not the case. So those are just some of the questions that I wanted to address, man. Again, listen, thank you everybody who commented. Man, this is the place for you to come and share your opinions. We try to keep it as respectful as possible. Shout out to everybody who shared what they thought, their thoughts on things, and you kept it respectful. I greatly appreciate it. I really do. And keep the constructive comments coming. For some of you jerks, and I am calling you jerks because you got on there and you spit venom just because you wanted to spit venom. For you, you're a troll. You know you're a troll. And I'm not even going to get into much about that with you because you know what you are. And that's what the internet gives us sometimes. For everybody else, thank you so much, you guys. Superman and Lois. The next episode drops tomorrow. And if you're not watching Superman and Lois on the CW, I'm still calling it the WB. The CW, woo-wee, that show's good. Listen, this is going to get me in trouble here. Best Superman we've ever had. I'm going all the way back to the serial Supermans. I'm including Christopher Reeves. And yes, my dude, I'm also including Henry Cavill. Tyler Hoechlin, I believe is how you pronounce his name. The Superman he gives us on the CW is amazing. Best we've ever had. Amazing. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next video. Peace.